So nobody asked for it, but here it is anyway. Pokemon Sword, no catching, hardcore Nuzlocke. Here are the rules I'll be using, so just pause the video if you want to have a read. So after being continuously bullied by Hop about my dad's oversized bag, we meet up with his brother, the undefeated, for now, champion Leon, who apparently would get lost walking down a straight road that leads to his house. I pick my starter Groki, who has a serious nature, so none of its stats have changed. I then pick a naming theme and I call him Broly. Let me know in the comments if you can guess the theme. Leon then shows us something that I'm not allowed to do in this run, and then Hop rubs it in by telling me he's gonna catch a bunch of wild Pokemon. We battle a few trainers and take on Hop for a battle, which is just me poking his Pokemon with a stick until they all faint. Now technically I can get a Meowth via mystery gift, but I actually forgot about him until after I finished the run. He isn't able to evolve, so it wasn't a huge loss, thankfully. Because I owned a copy of Let's Go Pikachu, I am able to add a second member to the team. Also, this particular Pikachu can't evolve, so you would think that he'd be useless after the second gym, but you'll just have to wait and see, won't you? I name him Nimbus and we can continue through. I ignore the wild area for now and I run into Leon, who gives me a grassy seed which powers up my grass attack. I then pick my shirt number and attend the opening ceremony. As we make our way to the next gym, Hop wants another battle, and I quickly dispose of him. Then we run into Bede, who's also easily dealt with by Nimbus. So we finally get to the first gym, and they waste no time telling us to herd a bunch of Wooloos and try to convince us that this is actually part of the gym challenge and not some manual labour. After doing some free labour, we enter the stadium and the battle begins. Milo leads with his Gossifleur and I have Nimbus out. So I start things off with a nasty plot which gets me to +2 special attack and I get hit by a rapid spin. I then go for another nasty plot and get hit by another rapid spin. I get a little greedy and I go for one more nasty plot that gets me to +6 and I'm hit with Magical Leaf. But I'm able to heal up with the Citrus Berry I was holding. I go for Electro Ball, but because of the speed rises from rapid spins, it doesn't take it out. I then get the KO on the second Electro Ball. Milo brings in his ace, Eldegoss, and we both Dynamax. I go for a G-Max Volt Crash, and it's just short from doing half its HP. I do get the paralysis, but I'm taking big damage from Max Strike. I then go for a Max Guard to stall out the Dynamax turn, but it was wasted because Eldegoss got fully paralyzed. I switch in Broly, who easily takes a Max Overgrowth on the last Dynamax turn. From here I continue to double hit and I finally take it down to get my hands on the first badge. Shortly after getting our first badge, we can get our third member of the team, Toxel. This Toxel is a modest nature, which at first sounds good, but his best poison move that he learns is Poison Jab, which is actually a physical move. He would still be super useful once evolved, so I name him Beerus and I put him to the party to sit back and gain some experience. With that done, we can now challenge the second gym leader, Nessa. I didn't bother reaching the level cap as my whole team is good against her water types. She leads with Goldeen and I'm comfortably able to get off a few nasty plots with Nimbus. From here I just Gigantamax with Nimbus and I sweep through a team which she clearly does not take well. With that done, we face Bede for a second time, and because Broly learnt knockoff, I'm just smacking his Pokemon on the head a few times and we continue on. Next up is Kabu, and his team consists of Ninetales, Arcanine, and a Gigantamax Sensor Scorch. My team consists of a Thwackey, Pikachu, and a Toxel. So yeah, we have a problem. I walk out into the stadium, lock eyes with Kabu, and we begin. He leads with Ninetales, who always goes for Will-O-Wisp. I raise my special attack with Nasty Plot, and he lands a Will-O-Wisp, which I recover with a Rawst Berry. So I Nasty Plot again, and he goes for another Will-O-Wisp, which actually misses. Although this probably doesn't matter as I'm using special moves and the burn damage over time isn't that much. Now the fun begins. I Gigantamax and I Volt Crash into his Ninetales and take it out. He then sends in his Arcanine, who can intimidate me all he wants, but he will also fall to a Volt Crash from Nimbus. Next, Kabu brings in his ace, Center Scorch. I go for another Volt Crash and it does big damage. He then gets fully paralyzed and I can finish him off with an Electro Ball from Nimbus. That's right, I just swept Kabu with a Pikachu. So Kabu begs at my feet and I show some mercy and we can finally move on to the next section of the game. Before we can make our way to Hammerlock, Bede decides to tell us how good he is and how useless Hop and I are. I have no idea where he gets his confidence from, considering that the last time we met I swept his team. I also take some time going to every den in the wild area and take every last Watt I can find. This is so I can go digging with the Digging Brothers who can get me some fossils. I keep spending my watts until I get a fossilized fish and a fossilized drake. With these fossils, I'm able to revive this abomination of a Pokemon, Dracovish, which looks like a failed science experiment. I name him Shenron and he has a serious nature. On the way to the next city, we run into this psychopath. Seriously, Artist Duncan, you need to chill out, mate. We take out a few trainers and Beerus finally evolves and it can be used in battle. We then run into Hop, who is down in the dumps after losing to Bede, and somehow he thinks challenging me would be a good idea. Unfortunately for Hop, this doesn't end well for him and we take out his team of misfits. And now we can do some final preparations for the next gym battle. I get most of the team to the level cap and Broly finally evolves into a Rillaboom. I then head on to take Bia, the fighting type leader. I'm able to get 3 workups done with Broly while taking some damage from Hitmontop. From there though, I just drumbeat the Hitmontop, Tangoro and the Surfage. She then brings in her Machamp, who still forces Broly in one hit even though it's Gigantamax. As soon as we leave the gym, we need to stop Bede from literally smashing a hole in the wall of an ancient mural. Like seriously, why would you? With Broly fully evolved, I simply smack his Pokemon on the head a few times with knockoff until they all faint. As I'm closing to the level cap, I navigate through Glimwood Tangle, avoiding all the trainers I can and head straight to Opal, the fairy gym leader. As you can guess, this is Beerus's time to shine. Add in the fact that I know all the answers to her questions, I'm able to easily plow through her team with Discharge and Poison Jab with almost no preparation. That's 5 badges down and only 3 to go. She does ask if I want to accompany her to Hammerlock, which I do decline as I need to get a useful item for Nimbus first. I take on this Dottler and get myself an Eviolite, which then I equip to Nimbus. Now we're off to Hammerlock. I get to Hammerlock and experience a very uncomfortable scene with Opal and Bede, and then he just decides to go with her into the woods. Very creepy. Hop then wants a battle with a completely different team once again. I hit his Trevenant with Leech Life for good damage, but he lands a Confuse Ray. I then switch into Beerus, who takes a Horn Leech pretty well. I hit him hard with Poison Jab, but I do get critted with Shadow Claw. Hop even rubs it in after landing the crit on me. I knock out his Pokemon and he brings in Big Boy Snorlax. I switch into Shenron, who takes Body Slam well and can get some leftovers recovery. I then land a Waterfall, which flinches Snorlax, giving us a free turn. Then I whittle down Snorlax with Waterfall, protect leftovers until we take him out. Next he brings in Bolt Hound and I hit it hard with a Waterfall. He then goes for a Roar, which brings out Beerus, who is too low in health to fight. So I switch in Broly, who eats a Crunch and then take it out with a Drum Beating. Next is Heatmore, so I pivot into Shenron, who gets tickled with the Fire Lash. I then take it out with Waterfall, forcing his last Pokemon, Inteleon, to come out. I switch into Broly and finish the battle. So we continue along until we reach a snowy region that has a Rock-type gym leader, Gordy. We make our way through probably the most dangerous gym challenge ever. I'm not sure how this is even legal, because one wrong step and you fall to your death. Anyway, after making it through that death trap, we take on Gordy. Gordy leads with Barbicle, who can't do much to Broly, so I go for Workup. I get hit with a Rock Tomb, which does lower my speed. I go for Protect to get some leftover recovery, and he goes for a Shell Smash, which is not part of the plan. I do get hit with Razor Shell, and not wanting to deal with this anymore, I go for a Drum Beating, which takes it out. Next is Shuckle, who also can't touch me with its low attack stat. I get 2 more Workups up, putting me to +3, and Shuckle, the absolute monster, survives a Drum Beating. I finish Shuckle off, and Gordy brings in Colossal, who I can outspeed and take out with 1 Max Knuckle, giving me my 6th gym badge. Next we take care of Team Yell, and we get an upgrade for our bike that lets us ride on water. We make our way across and see a bunch of trainers locked out, unable to take the gym on. Thankfully for me, Mahani sneaks me in and I repay her kindness by giving her a Pokemon a good old-fashioned walloping. Okay, I'm not sure why I said walloping. I've definitely got to improve my script writing. With that taken care of, we make our way down probably the most dodgiest looking alleyways I've ever seen. Not going to lie though, these grunts are quite impressive and they may be the most athletic we've ever seen in a Pokemon game. We get to the end and it's time to take on Piers, the Dark-type user. He leads with Scrafty, getting an Intimidate off, which lowers my attack. I go for Protect, expecting a Fake Out, but Scrafty goes for Payback instead. I then go for Waterfall and get a Flinch. I go for another Waterfall and get a critical hit, and he gets me back with a Brick Break. I then get another Flinch from Waterfall, and I'm very glad I made Shenron hold the Razor Fang. I then take him out with another Waterfall. Next in is Malamar, who takes a Leech Life very well considering it's 4 times weak to Bug type. It goes for Payback, which does do decent damage, but I'm able to take it out and heal up with Leech Life. He now brings in his ace, Obstagoon, and I get a free switch into Broly as he goes for counter. I get to +3 in attack and I hit it with a quad effective Brick Break to take it out. His last Pokemon is Skuntank, who I'm able to take out with 2 Brick Breaks. Luckily I had over 25% of HP as its Aftermath ability could have killed Broly. Only one badge left to go. So we head outside and there seems to be Pokemon Dynamaxing all over the place. However, Leon still thinks that my priority should be getting that last gym badge and not a city overrun with giant wild Pokemon. So I listen to him and make my way to the gym. Now the next gym is the one that I have been worried about. So I had to sit down and come up with a semi-plan for this one, as it is a double battle and I do not want to lose anyone here. So I lead with Shenron and Broly against his Flygon and Gigalith. Straight away I Dynamax Shenron and we both get hit with a breaking swipe, dropping our attack. I use Work Up on Broly, getting my attack back up, and Shenron takes out the Flygon with a max Hailstorm. Gigalith does do a body press on Broly, which he takes pretty well. Sandaconda comes out and I go for another Work Up, making me +1 with Broly. Shenron does use Max Geyser on Sandaconda, but it lives and paralyzes Shenron with a glare. Then Gigalith sets up Stealth Rocks, which is fine. I go for Drum Beating on Gigalith, which was actually a misclick as I wanted to kill the Sandaconda. I do get the KO, but Broly then gets paralyzed by Glare. Shenron gets fully paralyzed and his ace comes out, Duraludon. He Gigantamaxes and goes for G-Max Depletion, which almost takes out Shenron. Sandaconda then hits Broly with a Fire Fang and we really are against the ropes right now. But then Broly does do big damage with Brick Break and Shenron is able to take up the Sandaconda with a Waterfall. With Shenron almost dead, I bring in Beerus in his place, who takes big damage but does survive. Broly hits another big Brick Break and the momentum swings back to us. I decide to go for Protect with Broly, allowing him to survive, and Beerus finishes him off with an Overdrive. With that done, I can breathe and we can finally head our way to the championship matches. Unfortunately, as I was making my way up across, there were a few unskippable battles that I didn't account for, getting Broly above the level cap. Because of this, he needs to be boxed for the next 2 fights, leaving me with only 3 Pokemon. Because of this, my hand has been forced, so I'm bringing out the big guns, Nimbus. I drug him up with a bunch of Carbos to make him as fast as possible, and I head into the knockout rounds. Marnie is first up, and she leads with a Lipard while I bring out Nimbus. We both go for Nasty Plot, but I am slower, which makes it very scary. She goes for Torment, which isn't an issue as I can protect every second turn, and I'm just short of taking it out with a Draining Kiss. She goes for a full restore, basically handing me the win. I do go for another Nasty Plot as I can't attack twice in a row due to Torment. I take out Lipard and Scrafty with a Draining Kiss, then a Thunderbolt takes care of Toxicroak, and finally 2 G-Max Volt Crashes take out the Gigantamax Grimmsnarl. Next up is Hop, and I have no intentions of showing mercy. I go for the Nasty Plot and double raises its defense. I go for another Nasty Plot and I get hit hard with a Body Slam. I then recover with a Draining Kiss and double goes for the Body Slam and he gets paralyzed from static. I heal with another Draining Kiss and he gets fully paralyzed. Hop uses a full restore and I get to full HP with another Draining Kiss. I'm then able to take it out with a Thunderbolt. Next up is his Snorlax, so I Gigantamax and I go for a G-Max Volt Crash and it does massive damage, also paralyzing his Snorlax. I do get hit hard with a high horsepower, but I'm able to take it out on the next turn. Hop then brings in his next Pokemon, Hinchurchin, and I'm just short from a KO with Max Starfall. However, it just goes for Curse and I'm able to take it out with a Draining Kiss, getting me some HP back. He then brings in Corviknight, which is zapped straight back to Hop with a Thunderbolt, bringing him down to his last Pokemon, Inteleon. Nimbus then goes for one more Thunderbolt, bringing down his Dynamax Inteleon with 1 hit, securing us a win and a place into the next round. After getting through to the next round, we are forced to play hide and seek until we eventually make our way to Rose Tower. After disposing of the useless security staff, we come up against Elena. She is definitely related to Duncan the Artist. Seriously, just chill out. She leads with Frost Blast, who goes for Will-O-Wisp and burns Beerus. However, I do recover with a Rawsberry and I go for the Throat Chop, which does good damage. She then burns me again, but I finish her off with another Throat Chop. Out comes Milotic, who I hit hard with an Overdrive and she sets up an Aqua Ring. I then zap her one more time while slowly taking some burn damage. Salazzle is next, who hits hard with Incinerate. However, Beerus is able to take her out with a single Overdrive. Next up is Serena, and I bring in Shenron. She does go for Charm, which doesn't affect Shenron, giving me a free switch in. I then go for Leech Life, which almost does half damage, and she hits me with an Acrobatics that I take well. I then recover with another Leech Life, and she hits me with another Acrobatics. I finally take her out with one more Leech Life, getting me to her final Pokemon with a good amount of health. Her last Pokemon is Garbodor, who Gigantamax and literally has a boat and aeroplane stuck in its body. I Dynamax Shenron and I hit it hard with a Max Mindstorm, which brings it down to half HP. I then get hit with a Max Rockfall, which barely does anything. Because of its weak armor ability, I'm outsped and it hits me with a G-Max Malador, which I'm able to eat. I then take out the trash with another Max Mindstorm and defeat Elena. With that taken care of, we can now continue through to the tournament. B decides to put his Pokemon career on the line with another battle against me, which is brave of him considering that he has been copying hidings from me every time we battle. He leads with Morwell, who I can take out with a single overdrive. Next up is his Gardevoir, and she suffers the same fate. I equipped a Focus Sash on Beerus as I know I don't outspeed a Rapidash. Thankfully I live the hit anyway, and I can one-shot it with Sludge Bomb. He finally brings out his Hatterene, who goes down with one Max Ooze from Beerus. Next up is Nessa, who literally can't do a thing to stop Beerus and his path of destruction. I overdrive and one-shot her Golisopod, then I Dynamax as I know I can't outspeed a Barraskewda, who hits hard with a Drill Run. After taking the hit, I'm able to summon a Bolt of Lightning and take it out. I do the same to a Seeking and then a Pelipper when they come out. Finally, I overdrive a Dreadnought, who goes down in a single hit even though it's Gigantamaxed. Next on the list is Bia. She leads with Hawlucha, who does land a high jump kick but does minimal damage to Beerus. I then zap him with Overdrive, taking him out. Grapploct comes out and I protect to get some HP back through Black Sludge. I hit it hard with an Overdrive, but it's not enough to take it out and I get hit with an Octolock. I then knock it out with a second Overdrive. She then brings in Surfetch and I dodge a Slam to get in a free switch into Broly. I then get to +3 with Work Up while taking some Brick Breaks in the process. And then from here I just drum beat Surfetch. The Lynx comes out, so I Dynamax and use a Max Knuckle, but it just falls short from taking it out. I do get hit with a Rock Tomb, which I eat, but it does lower my speed. I end up taking it out with another Max Knuckle, leaving me at +5 attack. She brings out her Machamp, but there's no hope for him as it goes down to a Max Overgrowth from Broly. Our final challenger is Rahin, who's much easier to deal with now that it's a single battle. I bring in Beerus, who takes out the Torkoal with an Overdrive, and then it also baits out the Flygon. I bring Broly into a Stab Earthquake, which does nothing. I then proceed to work up 3 times while healing with Drain Punch. I finish off Flygon with the second Drain Punch, and he brings in Tortonator. Tortonator could be a threat, but the AI will always go for Shell Trap as it's super effective. Because of this, I can get to +6 with Work Up and take him out with a single Drain Punch. Out comes Goodra, who also falls for a Drain Punch. Finally, I take out the Duraludon with another Drain Punch, and I do it all without Dynamaxing as a tribute to Piers. Leon and I then head into the stadium, but before I can teach him a lesson, he is saved by President Rose. I then head into the Slumbering Weald and pick up a rusty sword so I can progress through the story. Now it's time to take on Chairman Rose and his Steel Tights. He leads with Escavalier, and I Dynamax with Beerus and take it out with a Max Flare. He then brings in Persica, who also goes down to a Max Flare from Beerus. Next up is Ferrothorn, and you guessed it, he gets burnt to a crisp with Max Flare. Klinklang comes in, and it takes 2 Fire Punches in the sun to get the KO. He now brings in his ace Copperaja. I know this thing has Max Quake, so I swap into Broly, who takes the hit with ease. I then protect to stall out the Gigantamax turn and take a little damage. I then follow up with a Drain Punch, getting me to full HP, and I'm easily able to take a Max Mindstorm. From here, 2 Drain Punches is enough to take it out and get the win. Now guys, I do have a confession to make. It is actually impossible to beat the game without technically catching any Pokemon. I went into the Eternus fight with 0 Pokeballs, and the game will still automatically give you one so you can catch it and stop its wild rampage. Rest assured though, once I was forced to catch it, I did release it back into the wild, probably putting the Galar region back into danger. So now I get everyone to the level cap of 65 and make some final preparations so we can finally face off against the champion, Leon. I lead with Beerus, who uses Protect and takes no damage from Aegislash. I then go for an Overdrive and Aegislash goes for a King Shield, which is perfect. I use Encore and lock Aegislash into King Shield. I then bring in Broly and get off a Sword Stance before his Encore ends. I go for another Sword Stance and I take a big hit from Flash Cannon. I protect the next turn to get some leftovers HP, but he goes for a King Shield. I then follow up with a Drum Beating, which does just over half HP. He hits back with a Shadow Ball, which hits hard, but lucky I didn't get the special defense drop. I protect again and get some more leftovers, and then I take it out with a Drum Beating. Next in is Cinderace, so I protect to get some more HP recovery. I then Dynamax and take decent damage from Acrobatics. I'm able to get the kill with a Max Knuckle, and I get another attack boost and I level up. Next is Dragapult, who goes for a Flamethrower, and I survive on 6 HP. This is crazy, as it was the exact amount I gained from the level up. I take it out with a Max Overgrow and I get some more HP recovery from grassy terrain and leftovers. Haxorus does come in, but he leaves just as quickly as a max overgrowth is enough to get the KO. Next is Seismitoad, who I Drain Punch and get myself back to a healthy amount for his ace, Charizard. I go for the Protect and take some damage from a max Airstream, but it stalls out a Gigantamax turn. From here the safest place to let Broly die, or switch into someone else to take the fall so I can get a clean swap into Shenron. However, because I've had 0 deaths, I didn't want to sacrifice anyone, so I switched my Assault Vest Shenron into a G-Max Wildfire, which tickles. I do take some damage from the Wildfire Flames, but it's manageable. I then tank a max Rocks Fall and hit Charizard hard with a Rock Slide. I then get hit with an Air Slash and only a high roll crit can kill me. I'm able to survive the Air Slash and I finish it off with a Fishious Rent. With that, I've defeated Leon and completed the no catching hardcore Nuzlocke with 0 deaths. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.